Alright everybody, hello Booktube. I wanted to do another video about TBRs. Okay. Basically, when I started Booktube, there were like one of the main reasons why I did it was because there were a bunch of books that I wanted to read that I didn't feel like I had the push to read. Um, and when I discovered Booktube, I tried to find other readers with similar interests, and it didn't really seem like there was a lot that was exactly like me. So, which is fine. Like, there's some great variety on here, and I found some really great stuff from booktubers on here. But the actual reason why I came on booktube has kind of gone by the wayside, and I've ended up reading or putting stuff on my TBR that I honestly don't really want to read right now. It's books that I thought, oh, well, I either haven't read this or I haven't read it since I was like in high school. I should read this to have to broaden my horizons and have more to talk about with other booktubers. And then I was looking at my shelves and looking at the books that I really want to read, and then I started looking at, um, for instance, here we go, my reading schedule. Okay, so May I did what I wanted to do. Everything was fine. June I started kind of branching out a little bit, like Stephen King, um, this I Want to Be Your Joey Ramone, which was like the worst book I've ever fucking read. And then some others came in, and everything was pretty good, I think, until I got to the end of July and we started doing like booktubeathon and stuff. And I just got really annoyed, I guess. But if you look at this, like I made this list back when I started. Um, Pale Gray for Guilt, that's a Travis McGee book. Songs of Innocence, that's a hard case crime book. The Killing Man is a Mickey Spillane book. Um, and then September, I had another Travis McGee, another Mickey Spillane, yada yada yada. And I started just going by, and I'm like, okay, so I could finish all of the Travis McGee books by next September. If I read one a month, I could finish the Quarry books by so and all this other stuff. And then I started noticing that the books that I've wanted to read, I've been pushing aside to read books that I haven't necessarily had a desire to read. And what really brought this on was that as I was collecting all of these awesome cover Philip Marlowe, Raymond Chandler books, I've been wanting to read them all again. And so that's all I've been doing. And I was supposed to be reading my Black Mass book for Tome Topple, and I've done a really good chunk of it, but I keep going back to rereading these books and reading like Trouble Is My Business and Killer in the Rain, like the short story books that I've read some of but not all of, and all that other stuff. And I've been really fucking enjoying it. And then it made me think, like, fuck, I would rather really enjoy what I'm reading and read it over and over and over again than read stuff that I don't really want to read and be like kind of eh. Like, I want to be excited. I want to be like shaking you by the collar, going like, "Oh my gosh, you need to read this book." And so, like, I wrote down a bunch of series that I want to finish. So, the Mike Hammer books, I have two more that were actually written by Mickey Spillane, and then there's a bunch that were written by Max Allan Collins, who also wrote the Quarry series, which I should be done with the Quarry series by the end of September, so I'm pretty excited about that. Parker by Richard Stark, aka Donald Westlake. Um, I came way late to the party on this, and I loved um, the first book, and I gave that 5 stars. But like Al Wheeler, like there's only like maybe, depending on if the titles have been changed overseas to here or not, because that was the case with a lot of the early Carter Brown books. I think I only have like 5 more Al Wheeler books to read. The Mavis books, I think I only have 3 more to read. Um, those are both by Carter Brown. They're awesome. Um, the 87th Precinct books, I just got into that with Cop Hater, and it's brilliant. And it's such a seminal work that spawned so many um, books and TV shows. It's crazy. I'm pretty much done with all the Philip Marlowe stuff. The Continental Op. I think I need to read the Dane Curse. Um, the Sam Spade stuff, especially the shorts. I need to get into. Travis McGee, I'm about halfway through those. Lou Archer, I haven't even started yet, but it's by Ross McDonald. And Lou Archer is another private eye in LA, which is awesome because I know LA very well. And then like the Police Sitter books by Edgar Rice Burroughs. There's 3 more I need to do on those, and then like 30 Tarzan books and the John Carter books, and the Venus books, which has this beautiful Frank Frazetta cover that is like amazing. Uh, and then the original series, I put OST. That's so funny. It's supposed to be TOS. OST is original soundtrack. The original series Star Trek books. I love the original Star Trek. Like, that is Star Trek. And I know I should have an open mind and be into all of the later Star Treks, but I'm really gaudy with my visuals, like the things that I like. Not on me, but like on other people. Like, I like mid-century modern um, architecture and furniture and design, clothes, the whole bit. And there was nothing more blah and vomit colored than how the Next Generation did Star Trek. It was like if you took the most boring person in the world and had them throw up, that's how they made the bridge and decided to make shoulder pads hip in the far future. It was nauseating. Um, but I really enjoyed reading those James Blish books. And I want to get more into all the other adventures that other people have written. And I feel like I've been feeling like there is, like, I need to be reading more Hemingway and Faulkner and stuff. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake, I just want to read a fucking Star Trek book. All the hard case crime books, they are gorgeous books, and I'm sure you've seen some of them. I have them all the time, but like Fade to Blonde, they're gorgeous books. I like the smaller ones, but they went to a different size. They went to this size later because they ended up with a new publisher, like a new guy that, or a new Titan Books is what it's called. But anyway, and that's a collection that looks beautiful all together, and I could get, and it won't be an issue. So I would like to get all those, just like with my gold medal books, like my Kurt Vonnegut Mother Night. I want, I actually want the older ones than this one, but this was the first one of these. Just look at that. Isn't that fucking awesome? Like, I would get that tattooed on me. Oh. Anyway, and then Children of the Dead Earth. Like, I know I read the last one and was really upset by it, but I read like a quarter of the way through the first one beforehand, which is just called The Ark. Steve Donnie sent these to me, and it was really fucking cool. It like had a detective trying to solve a missing person case in a basically an arc of the rest of the survivors of Earth. And so it was like sci-fi, but that. And it was like, it almost felt like Blade Runner, but, or Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but the main guy in it, he almost made me, like, I almost got a feel of him more as a, you know who I thought when I pictured him is fucking, shit. The guy from fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Can't believe I can't remember his name right now. The little hairy guy. Oh shit, I can't remember his name for the life of me. Damn. But that's who I picture walking through this like space station and going through like weightless bits and all this other stuff. So the Ark, I want to go back and read that because that was a really good book, and I'm hoping that the second book keeps that flavor going and makes the third book that I read more relevant, I guess. The Spider books, I have a bunch of these actually. A lot of publishers were putting them out, and this is with the original artwork. Who put this one out? Carol and Graff. They did a bunch of these where they put like two spider stories together. And every time a company, and I also have the big pulp versions, the reprints of these too. There's a ton of these, but every so often, some publisher wants to like reprint all the spider stuff, and they get like, they get a few in and then have to stop. I want to do that, and then like all of these books, like these giant big books of pulp stories, like all of the Black Mass stuff, all the Dime Detective, Saucy Detective. Like, I really want to like go through all those because they're fucking fun as shit. And so there's that, but then there's also authors that I want to finish here. So like Kurt Vonnegut, I've read pretty much everything of his from the beginning until the late 80s, like Timequake, I never read. So everything after Timequake, I need to get caught up on. I'm pretty much done with Raymond Chandler. Mickey Spillane, all of the non-Mike Hammer stuff. There's a couple Hunter S. Thompson books I haven't read. Charles Bukowski, I love his stories, but I tried reading some of his poetry, and I'm extremely confused as to why. Maybe I just read the wrong book, but I just didn't get it. William S. Burroughs, again, like, I haven't read any of his stuff, like, past The Wild Boys. So, like, there's that trilogy. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the city something. Edgar Rice Burroughs, I'm just getting into that and I'm loving it. Edgar Wallace, here's a guy I've never talked about really, but Edgar Wallace was a prolific author back in the probably 20s, 30s era. But in Germany and in Italy, his books like went like they sold like gangbusters, and I think in the UK too. But in Germany, they started a film company. I think it's called Rialto Pictures, if I'm not mistaken. That basically just made film adaptations of Edgar Wallace's work, which were called krimis. And those were the precursor to the Italian giallo films and all that other stuff. So I would really like to read more of that. And you could see the rest of the list that goes on. Murakami I got into through Booktube, and I really like it. But basically, long story short, too late. I'm gonna do my TBRs are going to be different and affect my happiness more. So that's all. So let me know what you think below. Have you been reading any books because you think Booktube wants you to read certain books? And if not, just let me know. So anyway, goodbye.